Welcome to podcast 43. Yes, 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 maybe, but yes.
Hello, welcome back to podcast 43, the podcast where you come to listen to it. That's our
What's
new
up?
that's our new catchphrase. We're trying to distance ourselves from the name, all the horrendous names we've been called by the pentatonics in court. Surprisingly, that's still moving forward. So, Chris, how have you been?
Yeah, I've been great, Folden. I just
You're not letting those lawyer fees get you down, right?
no, I'm not letting the various cease and desist we've received from
We're
Pentatonics.
not giving up.
It's not hurting my morale as far as pushing on, watching a lot of movies and so
Mhm.
on. So
Same here. Wondering when that bit will die, but I'm still getting a few more kicks out of it.
yeah.
What have you been watching in the past week?
All right. Well, I wanna talk about. I've watched so much good things, and I'll kick it off with the Night of the Hunter, the Charles Lawton picture with Robert Mitchum from 1955.
A great
This is a
movie.
this is a beautiful
Yeah.
looking film. It's takes a lot of it's very based in like French expressionism. It's a film noir. So
Mhm.
obviously there's that expressionism kind of you can see it, but in the film and it's just very tense and stuff, and kind of the whole I get so wrapped up in the whole use of religion in the film, because you
Mhm.
have Robert Mitchum as the preacher, and he's like this evil killer, but he also uses religion to like justify what he's doing. And then you have Miss Cooper, who is also is a bit very religious woman, but uses religion in a completely different way for like
Mhm.
good things, and like how to justify like all of her good deeds, and like caring for all these orphaned children. But it's just one of the great films.
Yeah. I completely agree. That was actually one of the first Criterion Collection movies I ever got because it was recommended to me by a coworker. And
Uh-huh.
so I was like 15 or 16, and I thought it would be so cool if I got the love hate tattoos on my knuckles or on
Yeah.
my fingers. Looking back, it's kind of I don't think it'd be very cool to have now, but at the time I
You
was
get
like, that's so badass.
you gotta get the love hate like Radio Raheem and Do the Right Thing.
Mm-hmm.
He has the love hate gold things on his knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
Which is obviously, I think Lee is referencing Night of the Hunter with
Mm-hmm.
that whole bit. But yeah. um I don't know. Let's What else? I watched so much good stuff
Mm-hmm.
this week. Like, Manhunter, Michael Mann's film Manhunter, which is the
Mm-hmm.
first film with Hannibal Lecter in it. And also filmed in Atlanta. Hannibal Lecter
Oh,
is
okay.
imprisoned. His like maximum security prison that he's held in is the High Museum of Art.
I've seen half of it, and I don't remember. I think I just had to stop watching it in the middle, and I haven't been able to finish it yet. But
It's a beautiful looking movie.
have you
It's got
seen Red
killer
Dragon?
80s. No, I've never seen Red
Okay.
Dragon. Red Dragon's a remake of Manhunter.
Yeah, that's why I was
Yeah.
asking. I've seen Red
Yeah.
Dragon in its entirety.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't know if I really enjoyed it. But I don't know if I like it more than Silence of the Lambs, but I'll have to if I revisit Silence of the Lambs, I'll probably be able to say
Hmm.
which one I like more, but they're both great. But I haven't seen anything
Agreed.
else. I haven't seen Hannibal or uh,
I'm not a
the
big. I've seen all of them except Hannibal Rising. I think the TV movie about his like teenage years. And I've
yeah,
seen the show
yeah.
too, but Hannibal I'm not too keen on. I don't really but I have my own like. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I just don't remember being too crazy about it. I actually have fun with Red Dragon. I know it's not amazing, and the director isn't really a great guy either. But I do enjoy seeing Ed Norton and Anthony Hopkins go tit for tat.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, what about you? What have you seen that stood out to you, Fulton?
Um, I've only seen a few, so I guess uh, the thing that kind of occupied me the most was finishing up the Beatles anthology, which I briefly talked about last week, and I said that it gave me some weird vibes. Um, Having finished it now, uh, I think I wrote about it best in my letterbox review, but that was just like everything I was thinking when I got done with it. Um, I think it relies a little bit too much on concert footage, and music video footage, which I think um, I think it if I was to watch it back in the 90s, I wouldn't have that issue because we don't have in the 90s you didn't have YouTube the way it is now, where you have all that footage and you have all that concert
Yeah.
footage and all those outtakes, because of the multiple anniversary editions of each album that they've released. There's like, two extra sides of just B-sides and rarities and outtakes and stuff like that. So I think at the time when it came out, it would have been like mind-blowing because there's all this new unreleased Beatles stuff that came along with it.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a weird thing to talk about because it talks about, arguably one of the biggest bands in terms of how it impacted culture and stuff like that. And every fan, I think, that approaches it is going to want something a little bit different out of it. And I think it does a good job of recapping everything, but I think maybe the things it chooses to focus on, you can have some gripes with it. Like, they don't even mention John's first wife, which isn't something I was like begging to know about, but I think it would have been interesting. I mean, I think she's maybe mentioned by Paul once, but um, yeah, it
Damn, not
barely.
even not even mentioned by the original
Yeah.
spouse. Yeah.
Well, so to fill John's kind of void, they had to use a lot of interview footage and stuff like that. I don't want to talk too long about it because I could go on a long time about it, but like they have like 5 minutes on Abbey Road, which feels weird. And I think it kind of the structure of it kind of lends to one member mentions a song, they show the concert footage of that song in its entirety, and then they move on, and then maybe they have the other members talk briefly on it. But it is really
Mhm.
nice seeing all the Beatles together in the scenes and hearing them talk. Like I think it's a pleasant watch. Um, but I
Yeah.
have some gripes about it. But there is another movie. Um, I only have two other movies. I don't think I can really talk about them too long because I don't know if there's too much to say. But I do want to bring up Superman Returns.
Yeah.
The
Another Brian Singer picture.
Yeah. So
Uh,
this one, me and a friend have been talking about watching for a while because for some reason we decided to watch Batman v Superman and we rewatched Justice League just out of pure curiosity, to rewatch them. And this is one that we talked about rewatching. And so I've never seen any of the other Superman films. This again goes in my line of with watching franchise movies. I accidentally watched the last one and have never seen any of the other ones because I think this one continues the story or something. Because I do like watching it now. As a kid, I never realized it, but now I feel like I don't. I kind of didn't know what was going on.
mhm.
This movie's pretty funny. It's not amazing. I, I like it in the sense that it's different. It definitely feels like a 2006 superhero film. It feels like an early 2000 superhero film, and um, you rarely get that type of feeling now. I think in superhero movies, I think the closest film that came to it was Venom. Um, but I don't
Yeah,
know. There,
Venom. Well, if you're comparing it to Venom, then I may enjoy it.
I mean in terms of feeling, I think. Well, I mean, I don't love Venom. Um, I think you'd probably get more enjoyment out of Venom than you would Superman Returns.
I mean,
Um,
Venom's just so fun. It's just so stupid.
yeah,
It's
this one, I think, like seeing Kevin Spacey in like a three-piece suit, and then he has his pant legs tucked into combat boots is pretty funny. Something I didn't pick up on as a kid, and I love this, because the way the film portrays Lex Luthor, he didn't become wealthy because of his like knowledge and like his technology that he typically would build, you know. He becomes wealthy because he bangs old women and he takes their money. That's how the film opens.
oh,
Yeah, so that's how
a real
he's acquired his
incredible.
wealth. Yeah. Um,
I'm the thing when people do mention this movie,
mhm.
which isn't really a lot,
Often.
yeah. But when people do, a lot of people bring up this scene where he saves people from a plane that I've heard is pretty cool. Did you remember the plane scene?
Yeah, I remember seeing that all the time in the trailer too as a kid. Yeah, it's cool. Like I'm pretty sure it's shot on film, so it visually like the cinematography I like. It's just that I think the script is kind of uh I'm not too keen on the script because there's like a lot of stuff that just like logically doesn't make sense. So I don't want
Yeah.
to like get too in it, but one of my favorite lines in the movie is when Clark Kent is talking to like another reporter from like the Daily Planet or like the photographer or whatever. And just for people that may not have seen the movie, Superman leaves and then he comes back. He has like an absence. And so within that absence, this court was trying to try Lex Luthor for all of his crimes. And the only one that could convict him was Superman. So in this line, Clark Kent's like, "Wait, he didn't go to jail?" And the photographer's like, "Yeah, they called on Superman for the court, but he didn't decide to show up. That sucks, right?"
Oh.
And then Clark Kent's like, "Yeah, that really sucks." I just love the idea that they called on Superman and he's the only one that could possibly incriminate Lex Luthor. Like, I don't
But
think I'm quite giving it justice, but that line was pretty funny. But
so we have another Superman movie with a courtroom scene because of course there's the famous congressional bombing scene
yeah,
from Batman versus Superman. Uh but very cool. But in that
yeah,
one Superman does show up in
yeah.
Congress.
Well, they don't. Yeah, but were there any other movies that you wanted to talk about this week?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I know I
Yeah.
kind of went on a tangent.
No, that's cool. I watched the Woody Allen picture, Anything Else, which was anything else but a piece of shit. It's like the more I think about it, the more I dislike it. It was like Woody Allen is doing so Woody Allen makes Jason Biggs a
Mhm.
Woody Allen-esque character, but Woody Allen's also in the movie playing a Woody Allen-esque character. Um And then Christina Ricci is like Jason Biggs's like girlfriend, and like they're always fighting and they're never happy. And it's just such a depressing, bleak movie that just it didn't make me it wasn't light in the same sense that I like watching Woody Allen movies, like when he's at his best, or
Yeah.
like what he does. It was just kind of like a very whatever picture. It takes place in New York, course. Um, and it just not a lot of things really happen. Not a lot of things amount to anything. And everybody's just really annoying and unpleasant. Nobody's happy,
Mm.
and in return, I wasn't happy when I was watching this movie. So don't watch this 2003 Woody Allen movie.
Is he working on a
uh,
new movie, or is
He
he
is
kind of?
Rifkin's Festival. It
Okay.
came out last year, but it hasn't come out here yet though. But
It's probably Gonna take us some time. I
Yeah, I
know
don't
Rainy
know.
Day just got a physical release. We may have talked about it on the podcast. I don't remember.
Rainy Day sucks.
Yeah,
It's pretty bad. But
I've
like, I
yet
don't
to
know.
see it.
Alan right now is just kind of not on his A game too. Like, I mean, man's made like 56 movies or something. So like,
Yeah,
you're gonna have plenty of stinkers, and the fact that he can still make so many is pretty impressive. But
yeah.
he's definitely past his prime.
His Imperial
Um,
phase.
I don't know what else. I saw Resident Evil, the Paul W.S. Anderson movie, and it was
I was
lovely.
surprised.
Yeah,
I yeah. I want to hear your review though, because I'm interested
it,
in seeing it.
it's just so. I mean, it's a pretty good it's a pretty good funny action movie.
Mhm.
But it has fun with the whole premise. There's some pretty outdated, CGI effects for some of the battles and stuff, but um I just think that it's pretty good at what it does, and visually it's pretty cool. It's like got that whole like 2000 like kind of matrixy type look to it.
Mhm.
Uh yeah, I look forward to watching the other ones. I did a marathon with some people where we
Mhm.
watched 4 Paul W.S. Anderson movies. Um, and
You brave souls.
yeah, we did Mortal Kombat, which was pretty good. Then Event Horizon, which was great.
Mhm.
Really really fun sci-fi horror film that apparently that they're working on that director's cut, or
Oh.
they're putting it. They found some footage, so I look forward to seeing that because it's even more wild from what I've heard that like Paramount made him cut. Like they cut like 30 minutes of it.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'd
And
be interested
then
to see that. That's one I've always wanted to see. I didn't know that he directed Mortal Kombat, but it makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
He's a video game director. He's a
he's a
video
bit.
game
I mean,
adaptation director.
we saw Monster Hunter. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we watched Pompeii, which was awful, god awful,
I didn't
because
know
it was
he
like,
did that. Wow, okay.
well, the thing about Pompeii was that like it was like trying to ride the coattails of like the whole like Game of Thrones kind of trend
Mm.
in the early 2010s, early to late 2010s, or mid to late 2010s, I should say.
Mhm.
Like you got like Kit Harington in it as the main star.
Mm.
And there's like a lot of like fighting and stuff in like a gladiatorial combat. He's like a slave or something.
Mhm.
And then there's like this whole romance plot, and then like and then Mount Vesuvius erupts, and like then they run away. It's just awful. It's just
Mhm.
really bad. I actually hated this movie. And then we capped it off with Resident Evil. So it was
Mhm.
it was a good time though for the most part. The only one that I really detested was Pompeii, but you know.
Maybe I need to give him more of a fair shake because I mean, I love AVP. That movie it's so funny. And
I
fun.
would I would give
Mhm.
him a fair shake.
Yeah.
He's got some good things in there.
Mhm. Resident Evil, I mean, I'm just now getting into the video games. I just started playing the 2 remake, so I actually am pretty interested to see what the movie adaptations hold for it. I didn't think that it was going to be like a direct kind of adaptation.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, like,
Yeah.
there's just like, I mean, it's about the Umbrella Corporation.
Mhm.
There's apparently some other characters show up in the other ones. But as somebody that is a big fan of the games, like
Mhm.
they're my favorite video games. Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. Uh,
Oh.
you ever seen White Chicks, Fulton?
Yes. Yes, I have.
I
That was
watched.
actually a childhood favorite of mine. It's not
Well, I did.
appropriate, but you know. Sorry.
I did watch White Chicks this week too.
And what's your take on White Chicks?
It really, for such an absurd plot, it's good for like the first hour, and then I think it kind of loses its steam. I think Terry Crews is great in it.
Yeah, he's a saving grace for that movie.
But I don't know, I mean, you look at like the Wayans brothers
Mhm.
in the makeup and stuff as the white chicks, and it's just like so funny because of how like crazy.
Apparently, they're talking about doing a sequel, but we'll see. It seems like
Oh,
every like, I
that's
mean, you know Hollywood, so
you gotta.
but
That's the thing is like Dumb and Dumber 2. Open the floodgates. Now every
yeah,
old comedy thinks that they can just come back in with the sequel. You got Coming to America. Um,
yeah, I don't know. I don't quite get that one. Although I've never seen the first one. I've just heard people's reactions to it. It's kind of like, but why?
yeah,
Um, I
but
wanted to briefly bring up. I saw Me and Chris briefly talked about it. It was he got me it for a Christmas gift.
that's
I
right.
definitely say
Yeah,
check that out. It's pretty fun and funny. Even if you're by yourself, I think it's still pretty fun. But I would grab a few friends. Um,
yeah. It's
but I
Ma
wanted
throws the
to.
littest parties.
Dude, she totally does. I love the scene. I forgot to tell you. I love the scene where they're first hanging out with her in her basement and Chaz comes up and he like gets up in her face. He's like, "Yeah, we need a snack wall there. We need some couches there." And then she's just
Yeah,
like he gets up in Ma's face. He's like, "You want to be fucking cool, don't you?" or something. And then she's
yeah.
like, "Yeah, Chaz." And she pulls out a pistol and she's like stripped naked. And then he does
Yeah.
it, and then all of their friends are like, "Yo, what? My mom's
Oh no, he.
crazy."
Oh no, she didn't.
Yeah. That was pretty funny. But I watched another horror film in between our last recording, and it was A Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two: Freddy's Revenge. Um,
Oh yes, the one that is very well the one that most people have taken as a queer coded film.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I watched it. I can't I can't say that I really like it. I don't think that I very much was super entertained by it or that I really liked it, but I do want to give props to them because I thought it was an imaginative movie. Regardless of how I really like perceived it, but I thought it was a pretty like I like the opening. I think it's fun and they do some cool stuff here and there.
Been a while since I've seen it, but
Mhm.
I did think that the effect was really like I don't know. I think the idea of like him becoming Freddy Krueger slowly and like having those urges is kind of cool. Or like kind of
I
how if you give it the lens of how people have like read it as like
mhm,
somebody that's closeted, like coming to terms with their sexuality or
mhm.
something.
Yeah,
But I it's been a while.
I agree. And so I was trying to read it under that lens, and that's where it gets a little shaky to me because
Mhm.
like it at first, the people that I'm just gonna say a spoilers really quick. At first, the people that I don't even remember his name that he starts to kill, they're men. So I kind of was reading
Yeah.
that as him suppressing his desires of them, or if you want to read it under that lens, his desires or his impulses for them.
Mhm.
Instead of embracing it, he's rejecting it and getting it out. But then he starts to target his sister and his like I guess his love interest. So I don't know how to read those aspects of it. And then I think the film's execution is a little kind of shaky with how so he becomes Freddy, but on the outside, does he appear as Freddy or does he appear as himself? Because I could never really tell what because it's clear that they're both the same person to a certain extent. Because there's I don't even remember the girl. I think it's no, I don't even remember the I don't remember the girl's name either. But there's a scene where the love interest, I guess, if you want to call her that, is having a party, and
Yeah, I
Freddy
remember
attacks
her.
the party. But I'm just not sure what he is presented as. Um, if that, do you get where I'm kind of coming from with that? It's a little
I get what
weird.
you're saying. I
Yeah,
like I said, it's been like years, so I
yeah.
don't even remember. I mean, I remember the party and I remember people being attacked, but I was always under the impression that yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
don't know.
But that might just be like a more, um, I don't know. I just want to
I mean,
say I thought it was
it's not
imaginative,
like
but I
it's
don't.
not like
Yeah,
as well made as like the first film. I mean,
yeah.
it's not directed by Wes Craven,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it still has some interesting things in it as far as horror sequels go.
Mm-hmm.
It does something more with it than something like Halloween 2, which is just a continuation of the
Yeah.
first film, just like more of that. It's like, oh, we're gonna kind of take, Freddy and kind of turn him around and
Mm-hmm.
make it, and I kind of add this kind of angle to it that, especially in the 80s, is kind of definitely a like, kind of crazy that like they made that in the 80s.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I just
but
wanted to kind of talk to you about it because I think maybe we talked about it once before, but I hadn't seen it. Um, but I
Mhm.
did want to give it props where it was due, although I may not have been super into it. But did you have any other
I think.
movies?
Well, I just want to say on that note,
Mm-hmm.
Friday the 13th Part 3, Dream Warriors, or Friday the 13th 3. No, God, why did I say Friday the 13th? Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream
Mm-hmm.
Warriors is great though. I mean, because they do the whole, they just do like, it's more like over the top. Like Freddy has all, it kind of has like the catchphrases. Like Robert Englund really gets into like the more comic parts of the character
Yeah.
as opposed to making him more of a horror character. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's where Freddy kind of shines a lot too, like because he has some
Mm-hmm.
pretty good one-liners and stuff. Like when he kills a girl with a TV and he goes, "Welcome to prime time, bitch."
Well, Friday the
Uh,
13th has always been one of those horror franchises that I kind of wanted to explore more than maybe say,
Nightmare on Elm
oh,
Street, you mean?
damn it. I did it
Sorry, it's my
too.
fault.
No, it's dude, I've made so many mistakes like that, but Nightmare on Elm Street has been one of those ones that I always wanted to kind of get more into. It always seemed a little bit more appealing to me than Friday the 13th and some of the other big franchises. So,
Yeah,
I'll probably be dropping those here and there.
for
Um,
sure.
so
Yeah, I don't really have much else to talk about. I guess I can say that I really liked the Jack Tournier film Out of the Past from 1947. It was
mm,
one of those, definitely a big an important film noir in the canon.
mhm,
But I had to watch that for my history of cinema class, and I thought it was pretty great. It's another Robert Mitchum film.
mhm,
Um, it's just, it just hits all the right beats. It's just a standard noir. Like you got a fantastic femme fatale played by Jane Greer.
mhm.
Um, Kirk Douglas is in it. Yeah, it's just so good. It's just great. If you love film noirs, that is.
I do.
Yeah.
I'm always down to see some more Robert Mitchum.
Yeah.
You ready to jump into the news?
No. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Looks like we're skipping it today, folks. Matt Damon is joining, or reportedly joining Thor for Love and Thunder, or I think is the name of it. Ethan Hawke is gonna be the villain of the Moon Knight series. I know we briefly talked about Mortal Kombat earlier with Paul W. Sanderson, but the trailer just dropped for the new movie coming out, the new Mortal Kombat movie coming out this year.
Did you read
Um,
that interview with the director of it where he was like, "The blood symbolizes many things in Mortal Kombat. It means like family and like."
oh boy, have you seen the trailer,
No, I haven't seen it yet, but
dude? It looks very outdated even by today's standards. It looks like a 23 it looks like the a 2013 movie, which is
well,
sad to say, but I still
I'll
want to
be
watch it.
I'll be watching it on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I don't have to even go to a theater to watch it. I can just watch it on my couch.
Yeah. Which it could, the finished product could look different, to be fair. I don't want to judge it, but I mean, I only say that because I'm still gonna see it. But
I'm hoping for
um,
a Venom type dated. It's like,
Where
It's
it's
something that because as I've said, Venom is like the greatest superhero film of like 2003.
yeah.
Uh, so maybe it'll be
Maybe
like
I'll have
that.
to rewatch Venom. I just remember but Nick Cage's new movie Willy Wonderland is coming out, and it's gonna be I guess the best way I could describe it is imagine if Nick Cage was stuck in Five Nights at Freddy's. I think is kind of the premise of it. So that sounds awesome. Godzilla v Kong gets an earlier release date by 2 months. I think it's coming out in March. I believe March 8th or 10th or something like that. I could be wrong on the release date, but I know it got
Cool.
moved forward 2 months. I really wanted to talk about this. Ivan Reitman, I hope I'm saying his name right.
Ivan Reitman.
Ivan Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters 1 and 2, and then he did Return of the Jedi, right? Or did he do a Star Wars movie? No, I'm thinking
No, I don't
I'm
think
thinking of
so.
someone else. My bad. He has seen Ghostbusters Afterlife, which was directed by his son, and apparently he cried and said that he was very proud of the movie. Um, so
Uh,
there's mhm.
I mean, listen,
It is
if
a
I was
song.
a dad and I saw my son's film, Jason Reitman,
Mhm.
of course, has directed other things. He's made a name for himself. With he did Juno,
Mhm.
and he did Up in the Air, which I recommended to you actually.
Yeah.
Um, but and Thank You for Smoking is pretty good. So like I don't know, he's a competent director, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna like it. Unless it blows my socks off.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still interested in it. But uh there's been a lot of stuff being talked or accusations and stuff like that coming out against Army Hammer, and he has dropped out of his new movie Shotgun Wedding. He was going to co-star with Jennifer Lopez, and it was going to start shooting. Um, so he is in a I don't know. I don't want to get into like all that stuff because it's a lot of really weird stuff. But I
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a lot of really it's weird. But Rami Malek and Zoe Saldana are joining David O. Russell's new film. I didn't see a name for the film, but
Did you hear David O. Russell's making a sequel to I Heart Huckabees? I Hate Huckabees.
nice. um, uh, I his last movie was Joy, right? That was in
I
2015.
I want to say, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think he's done anything since Joy, and you know what? He should keep it that way. He can just keep.
um, I thought Joy was all right. I, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. But Chris, I know you're gonna love to hear this. Aaron Sorkin is already uh, putting his director foot down. He's doing another movie called In Being the Ricardos. It'll have Nicole Kidman and Javier Bardem in it as the two main actors, I'm assuming. So he is directing. He's not stepping away from the directing chair.
Let's
Um,
go.
yeah. Darren Aronofsky is finally working on another film called The Whale, and it will have Brendan Fraser in the lead role. So I'm really interested to hear more about that and see where that one's going. Unfortunately, I don't know why Sony likes to blue ball us, but Morbius has been moved to October 8th, unfortunately.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But apparently it's supposed to come out after Venom 2 if Venom 2 doesn't get delayed again. Which is
They
weird.
better not.
Yeah. Um
I don't know if I can
uh
take it.
Rosamund Pike has a new movie coming out called I Care a Lot. It'll be a Netflix movie. It's got
Yeah,
a
I saw that.
few. Yeah, I just saw the trailer, or no, I saw the poster. I didn't see the trailer, but Kind of looks like it's I don't know if this movie was made during the pandemic, but it definitely kind of seems like a pandemic-esque movie because it's about a boss of like work at home people and about how she's ruthless or something. I'm not really sure. But it looks interesting. And I, I know we talk about TV shows sometimes here and there, but I just thought that since this one is so big, it might be a little bit interesting. But Peaky Blinders is going to end after its sixth season, which they're currently filming right now. And I don't think there's been a definitive reason why, but it's a little confusing because I was reading into it, and the fifth season apparently was a record-breaking season or something for BBC One. So it's a little weird for them to hit that milestone and then decide to call it quits. But maybe it's time for its show to end. But apparently it will continue in another form. So I don't know if that means like books
maybe
or
Cillian,
you know.
maybe Cillian Murphy just like he just didn't. He wanted to be and he wanted to get back to acting in movies and like. Because I mean, I haven't really seen him in much other than he was in Dunkirk.
Well, he was in the Scarecrow musical, based on his Christopher Nolan Scarecrow. Obviously, Chris, come on. That one's a little stinker, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting that they're gonna just move it to a different form. So I don't know. But
yeah, that's like podcast 43. We're moving it to radio serials. So tune in every Thursday night on channel at 95.7 and we'll play the thing.
We're trying to get a serious contract where we can hopefully coast it. I mean, we're trying, but maybe we can get Howard Stern to do a few episodes with us or something.
Yeah, that's when we're gonna sell out. We're gonna switch to satellite, even though we haven't even been on broadcast radio yet.
We'll finally settle that landmark deal with Pentatonics, and that's when we sell out.
Does Pentatonics even make music anymore?
Chris, let me tell you, they've won 3 Grammys. Okay, 3, surprisingly. It was quite funny because I was on Reddit and I joined the Garden Reddit just to like keep up with stuff like that and like news and stuff around them. And it was like, oh, you like r/the Garden? Well, how about r/Pentatonics? Which are, 2 complete solar opposites of each other.
Yeah,
but I thought that was pretty funny.
No, for sure.
Yeah. You ready to take an ad break before we get into our feature film?
Sounds good, hombre.
And we are back. And we're even better than before our ad break.
That's right.
This week's feature film is I Want to Hold Your Hand from 1978.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't. That's bad on me. It's Robert Zemeckis' directorial debut. The famed director from Back to the Future and The Walk. 2011.
I'm a champion of The Walk. The Walk is a good film.
I liked it. I just thought it was for some reason it popped back up in my mind just then. It kind of came out. But
director of Beowulf.
Oh yeah. This movie is executive produced by Steven Spielberg, and for listeners that listen to the past episode and this episode, they might know that I'm going through a little bit of a Beatle craze. So I kind of wanted to pick this one out because it's been one on my list for a while. And it mainly focuses on the Beatles' first performance, or I guess on-air performance in America. I think it is their first performance on the Ed Sullivan Show. And for people that might not know, that's when they like really took off in America. So this one doesn't necessarily focus on the Beatles, but it kind of looks into Beatlemania. And well, I'll save that thought for later. But it focuses on a little group of high schoolers trying to get to the Ed Sullivan Show and trying to meet the Beatles and kind of their uh trials and tribulations, I guess, of them trying to go there. But and in podcast 43 fashion, Chris, what is your first impression on this movie?
Did you also feel like most of these people were just incredibly annoying?
Incredibly annoying, and they were terrible people.
That's right.
Like
That's right, Fulton.
that
I'm
is
glad.
like yeah, I was gonna say uh yeah, this it's a weird one for me because
All,
but I'll let you continue, sorry.
I was just saying all the worst symbols of like the moral bankruptness of like American consumerism are on display in this film. Maybe save for like the last scene of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, God, what insufferable people
Yeah.
all these characters are. Um it was just, I just felt so annoyed. Um and I don't really think it, I don't know, I just really didn't care for this movie.
Um,
I mean, it's not like awful, but like,
yeah.
yeah.
I think I'm kind of in the same camp. I didn't hate it as much. To me, I could never really tell if it was trying to knock the Beatles or mock the teenagers of Beatlemania, because when I was watching the Beatles anthology, they do like the episode 1 to 5, like it's mainly focused on them dealing with Beatlemania, which I think is an interesting kind of concept. And I think maybe this film might focus on the wrong side of that kind of issue.
I mean, I find from a sociological perspective, Beatlemania to be kind of interesting. Like,
Mhm.
because if you like, I don't know, it's like I was thinking about when I was watching this movie, I was thinking about how like it's kind of like our tulip fever in a way, where like people are going to look back at it like
Mhm.
100 years from now and be like, what were they thinking? Like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it is
Yeah.
really strange just seeing all this footage of all these, mostly girls just screaming at the top of their lungs because of four lovely lads from
Yeah.
Liverpool.
Well, I think
Um,
it's funny that the women are going crazy, but even the dudes go like completely stupid.
yeah,
Like
like
it's
that.
like that's the funny thing to me. Like there's a but continue, sorry.
Oh yeah, it's just like, oh God. I mean, like, I was okay. So there were some things that I was happy about. I was afraid that they weren't actually going to have any Beatles music in the movie because I was like, oh, maybe it was hard to get like licensing or something.
Mhm.
But they did, and they had some Beatles music, and it was all, uh, I mean, it was all good tunes,
Yeah,
songs that I've
agreed.
heard, millions of times.
Agreed.
Um, but like, I don't know. Another thing that I appreciated was that they never showed the Beatles. Like,
Mhm.
they'd show them. I mean, they'd show parts of them, but they never show their faces. Like it was like they wanted to not like have like doubles or have
Yeah.
other people playing the Beatles, which I
I I
appreciated.
think it was a smart decision on their end. But the
Um,
only thing that kind of gets me with that is the voice actors that they got to to play the
yeah,
Beatles. I felt like it was almost like really bad impressions to me,
yeah.
because like there's a
They could have,
line about Paul and he's like, well, I got to get me trousers off and I gotta get them off me, and they're like, oh, just take off your trousers, and it's like it just
yeah.
sounds like such bad, and but
They should have just gotten the people that did the voices for them in Yellow
Yellow Submarine,
Submarine.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Uh
I think it would have fit
yeah.
a little bit better. I think that
Uh
with going back to what you were saying about the tulip fever thing, I do think it is. I think it's an interesting. I think it would be an interesting film to watch if you didn't really know about any of that stuff.
But even then, just watch it's a hard day's night.
Yeah, that is
It's
true.
so much of a better movie. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's infinitely better, and it actually has the Beatles in it. Like I don't know. I think that's the best way to get a look at something, is more of a primary source document, not somebody kind of looking back and reminiscing about their about like their childhood or teenage years, like, because
But does it feel like a reminiscing of it?
well, I mean in the sense that, it came out in 78,
Yeah.
Beatlemania ended, what, it was 14 years then.
64, no, 65, 66 or something.
I think
Something
the
around there.
Beatles stopped touring in like 65.
Yeah.
That was when they replaced Paul. But yeah, it's like, I think the most annoying character was definitely what was her
Ringo.
name?
Oh, Rosie.
Ringo. Yeah, Rosie.
There's a
Ringo
dude,
was a
Richo.
close second. That was a
Dude, that elevator scene. Oh my god.
oh my god.
When she's crying, he's like, "We gotta get out of here. You gotta be talking to the damn television." Nancy Allen, I didn't mind. I thought she was I enjoyed her scenes, although I don't think there's too much going on. But I think they could have like delved more into it with her, like on the brink of trying to decide if she wants to begin a marriage with this man.
Yeah,
Eddie,
she was easily my favorite character.
Yeah.
Because she felt like a real person.
Yeah, she didn't feel like a stereotype or like a caricature.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I like Tony too. Tony was
Tony
he was the Italian, the New Yorker Italian guy.
I'll be honest, he kind of got on my nerves.
Really?
Yeah, like I think his thought process of everything is so funny. Like I think his thought processes, but seeing him do his thing, I was like, you're just, because he's not getting chicks because of Beatlemania, and he's like, I gotta take down these Beatles once and for all. I gotta do some thinking, and he's just he is a complete asshole to everyone around him.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean,
and then he's like, the Beatles are the problem.
I just thought it was funny just because of how stupid he was.
Yeah, he's incredibly. I just like. I did think there's a scene near the end where he goes to take an axe to the to the satellite or whatever. I thought that scene was pretty funny, but I don't know. I just like I couldn't stand his character because it was just like he's like not even choosing to reflect on his own mistakes. He's just blaming it on something else as if that's the issue. But
I also have I also had I did think it was kind of weird though with Nancy Allen's character. Where she just like gets into like the Beatles hotel room, and then she gets like incredibly horny and like just starts like humping the bass and stuff. Like
I thought it was at first when she was like crawling to it, I was like, they're not like actually gonna do it. And then I think they kind of lean on the symbolism of her licking up and down the guitar. Or
very
something.
phallic, of course.
Yeah. And then she stuffs like everything into her bra, but I don't really know if that was supposed to be a.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a PG film, I think. Was it PG?
I know we got quite some crazy things in it.
See, I think I should have just chose A Hard Day's Night. That was probably my first mistake, but I wanted us to watch something that we both hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's so bad. No, not so bad, but it's just I just don't. The more I think about it, the more I'm annoyed with like so many parts of it.
I wish I could get that understanding because I was looking up reviews because I was kind of baffled. Because there's a lot of people that really, really like it. And I suppose I could understand liking it from the point of a hangout film if you want to look at it that way, because you know you're following these characters. It does kind of feel like a hangout film to me in terms of
Yeah,
like,
but if you want a good hangout film, just watch Heat. Watch Goodfellas.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when I mean hangout film, I mean like you feel like you're kind of hanging out with these characters. So in my
Yeah,
mind, it's like
yeah.
American Graffiti.
But I don't want
Um,
to hang out with any of these
oh
characters.
yeah, for sure. I'm just
Yeah,
like
I know what you're
I
saying.
feel like a lot of people are they really like it for that aspect. Like they enjoyed watching the hijinks of these characters and stuff like that.
Or it
And
reminds them of something,
yeah,
you know.
it's weird. It's an odd little movie, and I don't know. Yeah, Rosie is she takes up most of the screen time, I want to say, and she is just like a nut for the Beatles in full swing of Beatlemania. And there's a scene in the beginning when they're driving to New York, and I thought the scene where she just jumps out of the car was kind of funny.
Yeah,
Um,
that was quite amusing.
but I'm wondering if it was her or not. It doesn't change the fact that I just
I,
am
I
curious about it because it did look like her.
or there's I I did put in my notes that there's a thin line between what constitutes as an Ed Sullivan impersonation and a Richard Nixon impersonation.
Yeah, I didn't really like this because I hadn't seen too much Ed Sullivan footage before the Beatles anthology, but I feel like it got me pretty acquainted with him. I didn't feel like this
Yeah.
one was I didn't
Who do
feel
you
like this
think
one
did the
was that.
better? Do you think the guy in the Doors did a better Ed Sullivan impersonation?
If we're comparing the Doors one and this one, I'd say
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
dude looked more like Ed Sullivan, but that dude did a better impression or impersonation. But I don't think I was completely sold. But the only reason I'm having trouble kind of remembering the Doors one is because I wasn't as familiar with Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
So I can't really, I just don't remember what that scene was like, I guess. So I'm having a hard
Yeah,
time
I get
comparing it.
you.
But in terms of visual, you know, I thought them including the tour manager Neil was interesting. The blonde
Mhm.
haired dude. I don't really understand why Nancy Allen's character was like rewarded for stealing a bunch of the Beatles like personal items. Did you get that?
Yeah, no, I
It's
didn't. They're just like, we can do a press thing out of it. We'll have her talk about what it was like to be in the hotel room of the Beatles.
yeah. It's weird. I didn't quite understand that, but I'm glad that she got well, I was gonna say I'm glad that she got something good out of the day, but she kinda already did because she got to
Yeah,
explore. I don't know. It's a weird movie. I don't feel like it has really any sense of like justice, I guess.
we have to talk about how annoying Ringo is of a character. Not Ringo
Yeah.
Starr, of course, but
Hmm.
the character that changed his name from Richard to Ringo in honor of Ringo Starr.
I feel
He's
like I've
very annoying.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen that actor in something else before, but I just can't recall what it is. But I don't remember him being as crazy in
He
whatever
was
else I
in
saw him in.
he was in Grease.
I haven't seen Grease.
I don't even he was in the Polar Express and War Games. Cool.
Oh, maybe I remember his voice from Polar Express.
But like he's like this guy that's just crazy about the Beatles. Like he like collects all this Beatles stuff. Like, oh, this is grass that they
Paul
stepped
stepped on,
on.
yeah,
Yeah, or
and then
like
he's
this is carpet that he's
yeah,
like.
and then he's like, I got this Beatles officially licensed Beatles baby powder, and he's like, or something like that,
But
and
it's like none of this stuff really makes me like laugh. Like I just never was like, oh, haha, that's so funny. It's
yeah,
just more like, okay, okay,
yeah.
okay. Um, I don't know. I like,
I
and I
can
liked as I I like Zemeckis, or I like a lot of Zemeckis's stuff. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't say like I'm like, oh, I'm like the biggest Zemeckis fan in the world, but like,
Hmm.
he's made some good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I
Uh,
very much enjoy watching his movies most of the time. I haven't really seen Beowulf. I haven't seen too many of that CGI, or I guess mocap Zemeckis era stuff. And I haven't
yeah.
seen really. I didn't really want to see City of Marwin.
Welcome to
Uh,
Marwen.
oh, Welcome to Marwin, yeah. Um,
I didn't see The Witches, which came out last year on
oh
HBO
yeah,
Max.
I know we talked about that. I was really tempted to watch it, and then it fell back to I didn't end up getting
Well,
around to it.
friend of the show, Cody Workman,
Hmm.
highly recommended it. So,
Hmm. Okay, yeah, I
uh,
do remember that in the
eh,
2020 episode. I mean, in
yeah,
terms
Used
of
Cars is the one that I want to see though.
he
Used
did use
Cars.
cars.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, that is
that
one
was
that I
his
want to see.
follow up film, I think, to
I've heard
this.
that one's better from our film studies teacher.
That's right.
Mr. Clifton spoke very highly of it. I mean, in terms of her directorial debut, I don't. Uh, I'm not sure.
It's
Yeah,
like,
I just didn't find this film very rewarding. I guess was the first thought I was left with when the title started to come up. I didn't feel like I
yeah, it's
wanted
like,
these characters to get where they were going.
yeah, it's like I kind of, it's like you guys don't deserve to be
Yeah, like
here.
they're they're really like terrible people. And I don't know. I just like
It's like,
I guess Nancy
yeah,
Allen kind of she's the most likable, but I think I just really like her because I love Dress to
RoboCop.
Kill. Well,
Oh,
RoboCop is good, but Dress to Kill is like the main thing I saw her in, and then she's also, which is interesting because was Robert Zemeckis a part of the Spielberg, Lucas, and De Palma group in the? No, Zemeckis is a little bit after that, right?
well, I mean, Spielberg produced this. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question.
I just thought it was interesting because Nancy Allen would later go on to be in like a lot of De Palma movies, and they were married for a little bit there, and I think they got divorced.
Yeah, I mean,
But
yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. But
yeah,
uh,
do you have anything else that you kind of wanted to add to it?
um, well, I guess I can just say that like, there's plenty of movies about the Beatles and how
Mm-hmm.
great the Beatles are, but I don't really think that a film can really do them justice, unless it's like the ones that they actually starred in,
Yeah.
and that goes for Across the Universe, which is a horrid film. uh
There's yesterday too. I haven't I've seen Across
oh
the Universe, but
yeah. Oh,
yesterday I'm still gonna see.
Yesterday is
Um,
one of my least favorite films of was one of my least favorite films of 2019, definitely.
mm,
And it's like, because it's not really something that like somebody can like tell you about, or like kind of like, it's not like something that, because like Yesterday especially is like, hey, these songs are really great, and it's like,
mm.
well, yeah, but like I don't want to see this random guy performing them. Like I want to see the Beatles performing them. Like I don't know, you just can't do it. I just don't think you can do it justice, and like I don't think that Zemeckis had the correct vision to do so.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's interesting because last week our film was The Doors by Oliver Stone,
Mhm.
and I think that film does The Doors justice in a lot of ways, just because
Mhm.
it kind of like how it kind of weaves the music into everything. and you're still always hearing the music, but you're also seeing like
It
the
doesn't
story of Jim
stand the
Morrison.
music doesn't feel out of place. It doesn't feel like it's just
Exactly.
coming on as a part of the soundtrack, where in this film it does.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as natural. See, to
Isn't it
me,
crazy?
mm,
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I'll let you finish what you I'll let you finish what you're saying. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think I briefly kind of talked about it. I don't know if it's on the right side of this, if it's exploring the right side of this issue. Like, I think Beatlemania is a really interesting idea, but to me, the more interesting story that's there is how it impacted the Beatles and how they felt and how they dealt with it. I think that would be kind of an interesting movie. That might be asking for a little bit. That might be asking for a lot, but I think there is a really interesting story to tell there with how four little four kids that just, I mean, they're practically kids. They're like they're late
They're like
teens.
our age.
Yeah,
Like
like I
yeah.
can't imagine being ushered into all that fame, and like you're not able, like they're not able to just relax. They can't go anywhere. They have to stay in their room. Even when they're in their room, they
Yeah.
have people yelling at them. They have people trying to get to them. Like I can't imagine kind of what that's like. So when I was watching this, I was thinking like, is this the better story to be telling? But that's just my personal interest in it. So, you know, Beatlemania is interesting, but I don't know if I think they chose the more, to quote you, the more obnoxious side of it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
but, what were
I
you going
was
to
just
say?
gonna I was gonna say it's crazy to think that when this movie came out, all four Beatles were alive because Lennon was assassinated
Yeah.
by Mark David Chapman 2 years later. So in 1980.
I do wonder if they've ever spoken about this. I've heard them talk about Across the Universe. I don't think I've ever heard. I haven't looked up what they said about yesterday, or what I guess what Paul and Ringo said, but I would be interested to hear what. I can't imagine that they have too much to say about it. But I mean, who
Yeah.
knows?
I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
it's it's a thing. It sure is a movie.
yeah. I can hear it
Um.
souring in your voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of those things that like some movies improve after you're done watching them in your head, but this
Hmm.
movie has been slowly going down as the more I think about it and how
Yeah.
it kind of on some level it makes me feel kind of
To compare to the
uh-huh.
Doors, it's kind of having an inverse effect. Where if the Doors, I was like, I'm probably going to return to this in like a few years. This movie, I don't know if I want to still own my physical copy of it,
I know.
but it's interesting because you can't stream it anywhere. You can't rent it anywhere. So the only way to get it is if you get like a DVD copy or a Blu-ray copy or however you can get a
Which is,
physical, or if you pirate it, I don't know, whatever y'all do. But there's no way to stream it, which I'm assuming is because the rights to all the songs. It's a very music
yeah, it's
rights are
probably
complicated.
yeah, it's probably that's probably why.
Yeah.
So we're gonna work and try to get across the universe taken off of digital rental. So, so
Oh boy. Uh I don't know.
but
That one that one might be a fun one to talk about.
yeah, I mean, you can talk about how it's just like in the same vein that I don't know, Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
another Zemeckis picture
Mhm.
that I don't really like. In the same way that Forrest Gump is, whoa, dude, the '60s were wild. Is that's also across the universe, but it's whoa, dude, the '60s were wild to Beatles music.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. But
it,
um
it
I do
yeah.
plan on watching Help and Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine at some
Yeah,
point here soon.
you gotta get those out of the way. Those are
Yeah.
great. I mean, I've only seen Hard Day's Night and Yellow Submarine, but those are two very, very enjoyable films.
Yeah, I mean, I love A Hard Day's Night, which so that's why I'm excited about Help, because I know it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of like in the same verse, but I think it has more like slapstick comedy or something. I don't know. They're both kind of slapstick.
Richard Lester directed that one too.
Oh, I know. Oh, I just want to bring this up briefly. Another movie that I kind of thought about doing was How I Won the War. It's another Richard Lester movie, but John Lennon.
That's a John Lennon, yeah.
So I might pick that one. I haven't heard amazing things about it, so I don't want to continue this track record of. I just like to pick movies that sound interesting, but I don't know.
I was thinking about buying that the other day because I was at the store nearby. Somebody had the Kino Lorber Blu-ray of it.
For real?
Of How I Won the War for like $8, and I was like, I don't know.
I could Venmo you. We'll talk about that. That's not like I don't know. I'm just thinking on my feet, but
yeah.
But I guess we can wrap it up. I don't think there's anything else I really want to add to
I don't really have. I don't recommend this. I don't recommend this film. I don't wish this upon anyone.
Yeah. If you're looking for another Beatles, if you've exhausted all the other movies that we've mentioned and you're looking for something else, Beatles related, I haven't seen Backbeat, but maybe check that one out and then get to this one. But there's a slew of really good documentaries about the Beatles and good movies with the Beatles and with them in them that we've talked about, with A Hard Day's Night, Help, and Magical Mystery Tour and Yellow Submarine. So there's a good bit to choose from. But if you find that you've exhausted and you still want to see it, I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't know if it's a movie that I can say that I enjoyed a lot for the reasons that we kind of talked about earlier. But Chris, do you want to announce the feature film for next week?
Yes. Next week we will be watching The Young Girls of Rockford, which is the Jacques Demy film from 1967, starring Catherine Deneuve and George Chakri and Michel Piccoli, and even Gene Kelly is in the movie. But it's one that I've been wanting to get around to for a while. I love The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and where this is this is our third music related film in a row. I guess I could say this is an actual musical, but
yeah.
But yeah, so I hope y'all have a great week, and we'll see you guys next week. Stay wavy.
Goodbye. Stay safe, everybody.